Hey guys, how's it going? Well, the day has come. The Harley is alive. Now, I've had a few little bobbles with this thing over the last couple weeks, and nothing major, but little issues that I've been working through. This project's taken a long time. I started in February, and it's now almost May, so we're on the home stretch. And, well, let's go to the bike, talk about it, and then let's fire her up. Okay, here she is, how she sits right now. I did a carbon fiber wrap to the fairing. I don't know. I'm not super happy with it. I had issues. There's a lot of bends and curves. I got some wrinkles here. I mean, it looks like real carbon fiber, friends, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this. Probably not. I'm probably going to scrap that project. It looks cool though. Like, it's too bad. There's just too many curves on this fairing to do it in. I tried to do it in one piece, and then one piece became about 5 pieces. But this fairing is so curved that I wouldn't recommend anybody try wrapping one. A batwing fairing, yeah. I had trouble getting it to adhere in certain spots. I see it's lifted a little bit today. I may go back at it with a heat gun and see if I can get rid of some of these imperfections. But here she is. What have I done since I put the motor together? I plumbed in a oil pressure gauge. I redid my my crank vents. Those are all just those are kind of plumbed in funny. And this is carbon fiber, real carbon fiber. I got that off eBay. Looks cool. I like it. Doesn't hit my leg. And I also upgraded the air filter to an R&S Big Sucker. Bike's filthy. It's just covered in dust, debris. So I put all that stuff in, and got my thunder header back on. I've had this on and off 2 or 3 times, friends. I'll talk about that after though. Let's fire this thing up. It's what is it out? It's cold still, friends. This spring's been a little bit of a dumpster fire. That's good though. We need a slow melt. I'll just aim you guys here. Okay, so I don't know. It's about 3 degrees Celsius, 4 maybe. It's supposed to get up to like 15 today. We're going to the zoo. That's right. Okay. I dropped my screw for the positive terminal. I need to get another one of those. So I've just been using vice grips here. It's in the bike somewhere. I just can't find the darn thing. Like, I just can't. I've looked. Okay, decompressions. Turn the key on. Bike runs beautiful. Okay, well, I don't want to idle it too much. You guys can see I got that tack running. It works. So what else have I done to this thing? I've done a lot of work to this, friends, not just motor-wise. I got 2-inch taller bar risers. I felt like my bars need to be a little bit higher. Bad shoulders. My arms kind of like to hang or go straight out and kind of hang down a little bit. So I got 2-inch taller bars, and I gotta remember to tighten that brake caliper back up because I was playing with the brakes. I put this tack on there. Seems like it's reading a little fast today. I'm not sure. Although it is pretty cold out, which tells me the EFI would up the RPM a little bit. But this thing works great. I'm putting out cold. I'm putting out 55 pounds of pressure, of oil pressure. Warm, it goes to about 20 at idle, which is really good. I have heat cycled this thing 2 or 3 times. Now, is it all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows? No, I had 2 major issues with this bike. Not major, but... So, friends, the first day, I went to fire this old girl up, and I put the key on, and it was turning over, and it sounded like it was out of time. Either ignition or my cam chest. And then this thing did it. It let out, it blew a flame out of here. My ears were ringing for days, and I went, what? So I turned it off, looked at everything, okay, we're good. Went to fire it back up again. It did it again, boom! And I thought, oh, geez. So, well, I spent that night, I went in the house, friends, I was like, because right away, as mechanics, we always go to the worst thing. And the worst thing is, okay, I got to pull this thunder header off, and rip my cam chest apart, and check my timing on my gears, right? Maybe I put them in wrong. I know I didn't, but you got to check, right? Well, I said, well, I'm not doing that tonight. That's not my gig tonight. So I decided to go in the house, and the next night I came outside, and I was like, I wonder what's wrong with this thing. I gotta wash this motor down. It's dirty. And actually, what happened, friends, was I jacked my fuel tank up. And now, I was assuming I've only had carbureted twin cams. Carbureted twin cams have a dual fire ignition, meaning every rotation of the motor, front and rear fire. Okay, so that's what I assumed I was dealing with here. Well, that's not what I was dealing with here. This is a fuel injected model, and fuel injected models fire front and then rear. Well, I had my spark plug wires on backwards, friends. I didn't make note of what went where because I saw that I had a Harley Davidson coil, meaning I have a dual fire ignition. Or did I? No, single fire. So, oops, oh well, fellow learns. Put the plug wires back on the right plugs, and this thing fired right up. With authority, friends, and it fired up so easily, it was like I never took the motor apart. So right there, I was like, okay, we're in business. So that was number one. Number two, once I started heat cycling it, this thing was loud. I had a massive exhaust leak on the rear cylinder. So last night I pulled the thunder header off, and the donut fell out while I was tightening it. So I don't have any more exhaust donuts, and silly guy who never throws anything away, I threw away the old ones. And those old ones were new. I replaced them last year when I pulled this exhaust system off. I can't remember why, but I pulled it off to do something. So I took the rear donut and I hammered it back into place, and it works now. So put all my heat shields on. It's a lot of work to put a thunder header on a bike, but man, that looks good. I love a thunder header. Yes, they're obnoxiously loud, especially with big compression, which this thing has. So that's all done. And other than that, friends, I've heat cycled this thing 3 to 5 times, just, you know, little warm-up sessions. I don't see any leaks. I noticed the valve train is a lot quieter now with those new lifters. So I don't know what kind of witchcraft's in those lifters, but this thing had a very ticky valve train for most of its life. I mentioned that on a video last year where I was like, hey, if you're running high lift cams, which this is, 590 lift cams, you're gonna have a loud valve train. Well, these things are loud. I notice it's not as bad. I hear intake more. Replumbed the intake system, and so that was all good. This is just a precaution. I mostly needed this for when I first fired the bike up, because I had the oil pump apart and I wanted to make sure that this thing's actually pumping oil. So the only things left, friends, really, I got a bunch of wiring to do. There's a mount in there that you can't see now. I moved the fairing up about an inch and back an inch. Okay. Notice there's no gap between the fairing's just loosely on there. There's no gap between the fuel tank and the fairing now. The way I had it before, there's a big space. Right now, what I noticed last year when I'm sitting on the bike, I felt I would move forward about an inch, you know, inch and a half, and I noticed that I'd be out of the wind then. There's less buffeting, so I was like, well, maybe next year I'll move this fairing back. Because remember, friends, the bracketry and everything for this fairing I built. This is not a fairing for this bike. It's too bad about that carbon, friends, that's sure. It looks like real carbon. Like, if I didn't know this was a wrap, and I didn't see a few seams in that, I would think this is a real carbon fairing. But anyways, the idea was I didn't want to paint this thing again. This plastic, friends, this ABS, it does not take paint well. I had so many paint issues last year that I just got tired of it. I rode this thing around with a janky paint job and I didn't care. I'm about go, not show. And anyways, so that's where we're at. I got to rebuild my brackets to hold the fairing. Let's bracket it there. And bunch of wiring. I think I'm going to modify this groove to go out farther for my cables there. What else? Got to wire my fog lights and turn signals again and find a screw for that. I got to tighten the front caliper. This is coming off. I'm going to run my clutch cable through here. Because this thing had apes, my bars were too low and my cables were a bit too long. So I'm still fighting with this though, friends. My throttle's a little sticky. Doesn't bother me, but I'm liking this. It definitely looks cool. It seems to work. It seemed a little off today, which is weird. I haven't had... One thing about these Autometer tacks, they're real bouncy. That's just how they are. That's a 5-inch Pro Cycle. I like them. They're just rowdy. And with that mount I made, it almost looks factory. So yeah, friends, other than that, a lot of cleaning. I'm going to do a full primary service. I was supposed to do that last year and I never ended up doing it. My primary cover is, it looks like it's sweating a little bit on the bottom. And I got to rerun this wire here, this cable, I installed it wrong. That's the overflow. What else, friends? That's about it. I wish I could find that screw. It's in here somewhere. I never found it, friends. I feel like it's in here somewhere. Okay, so shorter video, but there you guys have it. Got lots of yard cleanup to do. That's normal. Things blow around. I can't wait. As soon as it thaws, you guys can see the water there, though. It's hard to move around this time of the year. But there you guys go. 2003 Road King. I'll call it my turd glide because that's what it is. Friends, this thing's a solid 50-footer. It's got chips and scratches and dents and rust, and I love it though, friends. It's just a solid, old school, daily rideable Harley. It's comfy, it's fast. I think it's a good looking bike, and yeah, I don't know, friends. If you want a Harley, something like this is a cheap way to get into it. And I mean, I have no interest in the new Harleys, the M8s and that. They're not my vibe. I get it if you're into them. My uncle next door has one. It's a CVO Road Glide. Beautiful, beautiful. But I like these older bikes. You know what it is for me, friends? Where there's a fastener, I want to see a fastener. I don't want like a cover. You know, I want like a big nut holding the dash on. This is about as new as I would go. And even this is too new for some people. This thing's fuel injected. I would have bought it if it was carbureted. That don't bother me one bit. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy. See you in a couple days. Hopefully we can go for a ride soon. I wish the weather would cooperate. Later.